Hi, this is Stephen from Own or Disown. I actually wanted to do this video after CES, but there was so much talk about NDAs and such. There has been plenty of leaks, so now I wanted to discuss whether now is a good time to buy a laptop or should you wait. As we all know, technology is always advancing, so the term future-proofing may actually only last a couple of years these days. So it's more of a question of value for money. And what we often see before new products are launched is discounting on current models. So with that in mind, I think now is perhaps not a good time to buy a laptop, unless it offers you something unique, like the extra performance we have seen on the electronics laptops with their Electro Boost technology. The upcoming new tech will generally be available mid-March to mid-April, so I expect to see discounts towards the end of February as retailers try and move stock. So what can we expect to see this spring? Well, first, Nvidia Super cards. Now, I have actually seen the RTX 2070 Super in a laptop, so it is definitely real. And like the desktop versions, I would expect them to have more processing cores than the current models, and offering generally about 10% extra performance. The Super cards will also include Max-Q variants. The likely models being the 1650M and the 1660M with a 50-watt TGP. The 2060M Super looks like the most interesting part, as we'll have a 115-watt TGP, which will make it like the electro-boosted 2060, but with more processing cores. It could well actually end up being faster than the 2070 Max-P. The TGP of the 2070M and the 2080M Super cards will remain the same as the current models. On the low end of the scale, more suited for 14-inch and smaller laptops are the new MX330 and MX350. The MX330 should be similar to the current MX250, so I really don't see the need for that, but the MX350 is about 20% behind the GTX 1050, which isn't too shabby. Now, I think what AMD is launching is quite enticing, although nothing really to fight Nvidia at the high end. We have already seen the Radeon RX 5500M in the MSI Alpha 15, but with the advent of the new AMD 4000 CPUs with faster DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, it's expected to boost performance to just below the 1660 Ti level. What we will see is the new RX 5600M, which will have the same stream processors and 36 compute units as the desktop 5600 XT. Now, before AMD released a new BIOS to boost its clock speed, the base clock was 1375 MHz for the desktop card. But according to AMD, the base clock of the mobile variant will be 1265 MHz and boosting to 1560 MHz. This will likely result in about a 10% difference, I think. The original 5600 XT got 102 FPS in Shadow of the Tomb Raider at high settings, whilst the RTX 2060 in my Max 15 scored 85. So in my books, I expect it to be close to, let's say, a 2070 Max-Q, which again isn't too bad. It's probably AMD's new CPU lineup that is perhaps most interesting. Built on their 7nm process, they are launching 15-watt and 45-watt variants, and both are going to cause quite a shake-up. Intel only goes up to 6 cores, 12 threads with their Comet Lake i7 10710U 15-watt processor, but AMD will go up to an 8-core, 16-thread 4800U. The clock speed of the integrated VEGA graphics will be 30% faster than Intel's Iris Plus graphics, which should allow gaming at 720p low settings, depending on the game. And not only that, AMD has made great power saving changes when the chip is idle and reduced latency, so it'll always remain responsive. I think having something like this in a 13-inch thin light laptop would be ideal. On the 45-watt end, we will have the Ryzen 7 4800H. Again, an 8-core 16-thread, but with a higher base clock. Asus will have a 6-month exclusive on the 4800HS, which will have a lower 35-watt TDP. No doubt specially binned so it can maintain the same clocks at a lower wattage. We will see the 4800H, in the likes of the Asus G14 and also the MSI Bravo 15, the new Dell G5, and the Asus TUF A15 and A17 laptops. AMD says that the performance will actually beat the current Intel i9 8-core CPUs at a much lower price point. Intel's response is the 10th Gen Comet Lake H CPUs. The 4-core 8-thread i5-10300H got a Cinebench R20 score of 1924, which is slightly ahead of the 9300H, which scored 1846. That's about a 5% increase. They will have an 8-core i7 that will single core boost up to 5 GHz, but it will not be overclockable. So they have the i9 10980HK with a base clock of 3.1 GHz and can be overclocked over 5 GHz. Now my understanding is that these are still 14nm chips, and I do not expect a 10-core Intel chip yet. The desktop Comet Lake H CPU uses up to 300 watts, so they will need to wait until about 10nm for that. Now other changes we will see are 300Hz gaming panels and larger 99.9 watt-hour batteries. And MSI did show off these in the GE66 and the GS66, and both looked really exciting, especially that GE66. Also, we will see mini LED displays as on the MSI Creator 17, which will also use up to an i9 8-core 10th generation Intel CPU. So yeah, there is a lot of new stuff coming, and hopefully we will see some of these on display at PAX. So make sure you subscribe to catch my coverage of that. If you see a bargain, snap it up. Otherwise, I recommend sitting tight for 2 to 3 months. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.